I'm Bridget Phetasy, and this is your dumpster fire for the weeks of October 3rd to October 16th.
And the unicorns dance while the world burns, world burns.
You guys were telling me how butthurt everybody it was about Russell Brand in the comments.
Oh my God.
I wish we'd saved some of the good ones.
I've never seen so many comments about Russell Brand in my life.
We weren't even being that mean about him.
No, that was mild criticism.
Listen up, folks. When we say making burgers out of your sacred cows, we mean even your sacred cows. Yes, you. Apparently, some of you think that you are exempt from that status, but judging by how Sensatorus Rex you all got in the mentions about Russell Brand...
I had no idea Russell Brand was such a sacred cow for so many people. Jesus
I think
Christ.
It's just people are so desperate to have someone represent them, and that when someone is saying something and they're like, yes, queen, Russell Brand, like they're yes, queening Russell in their own libertarian kind of way. And then somebody that they see as kind of like-minded, and Russell and I are like-minded in many ways, goes after him, and they're like, I thought I knew you better.
But that wasn't even you going after him.
I was very gentle, by the way.
You just said he was late to the party.
You never want to see me actually roast anyone if you were offended by that. And the favorite comment, too, is like when you say something that someone doesn't agree with an opinion, and they're like, I'm disappointed in you.
God.
Okay, Dad.
Huge eye roll to that
It's such a like left-wing thing. It's like the do better. You can have a differing opinion from someone. You don't have to be disappointed in them.
Yeah, you're disappointed that I don't agree with you on every point of everything you believe in.
I'm disappointed in you. Frankly, I'm disappointed in you. It's like, go f*** yourself.
All right, on that note, let's get started.
Speaking of go f***ing yourself,
we live in the
Motor Bunny.
We live in the golden era of butthurt. Speaking of the golden era of butthurt, we have a not used Motor Bunny that like when I was working for Playboy, this ginormous sex toy was sent to me. If any of you kinksters out there want it, I won't pay for the shipping even, but I will send it to you.
Make a bid. Bridget will sign it.
It's never even been opened, I don't think.
It's got like attachments and It's $1,000 product.
God.
I'm going to throw it in the dumpster.
I told Maggie, I was like, what if we put it at the curb?
And then just videotape people's reactions.
I'd get like arrested or something. Butthurt workers of America unite.
Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
President in waiting. Kamala Harris uses tax dollars to hire child actors for staged science video.
I mean, everyone went after this on the right wing, but I can't help myself. Not to be hacky like every single right wing. You have to. CNN should be making fun of this. It's ridiculous.
Oh, this was so bad.
Like you couldn't find real kids who are into space.
I know. That's like every kid. You couldn't find any real children. You had to hire actors. Apparently they had to send in monologues. I would have loved to see those monologues. Like, Kamala, one of the things I really love about space is that when I look up there, I realize that I can dream big just like you did when you were a little girl dreaming of being the vice president of America and the basically Julia Louis-Dreyfus in real life. That's who she is. She's Veep. She's a real life Veep.
This was like this was offensively bad.
Yeah.
Maggie was really offended by her acting.
More
than
her
anything.
Acting was so bad. I was like, how are you a politician and you're this terrible of an actor?
It reminded me of Hillary with the balloons a little bit. Just so like, You can look at the moon with your bare eyes.
You'll be looking see the craters of the moon with your very own eyes.
You're gonna literally see the craters on the moon with your own eyes.
Oh my goodness.
With your own eyes, I'm telling you.
It's like, what the else would they be looking at them with?
Duh.
Yeah.
And I can see the craters of the moon just by looking up at it. Pick something else to be excited about, Kamala.
Wait till you guys see the moon. I'm telling you. I don't know what it is about those craters. So that's one of the things I'm most excited about.
Aim a little bigger. like the
See
rings
the
of
rings
Saturn.
of Saturn, the moons of Venus.
It's so creepy too with like Joe Biden's fake setting and this fake children at the NASA video.
NASA.
NASA video.
Bridget's going to the Bahamas. I
That's
think we
all I
know
wanna
where
do.
she leaves.
I'm sitting on a beach earning 20% at all times. I really am convinced the moon landing was faked now.
Yeah.
I'm convinced of it.
If that's true, then Neil Armstrong
No, it's
deserves an
true.
Oscar because he was a way better actor than Kamala Harris.
It's true. The moon landing was faked. You heard it here millions of times later on Dumpster Fire.
Which is finally caved.
Your reliable
God,
news
she's
source.
just so bad. How is she so bad at politics?
I don't know. She's like just wow.
And all the kids were like perfectly picked in the diverse. They're like, we need a little bit of everything in this video. We've got a little Asian kid and we need a little, but they didn't represent the kids in the wheelchairs.
And even,
Which is outrageous.
well,
They are handy capable. They can still look at the moon, Maggie.
Pretty ableist to assume that you have to have eyes to look at the moon.
but these kids weren't even, these child actors weren't even that good of an actors because the way one of them asked a question, I was like, Jesus, can you read that off the cue card any more clearly?
So what is the most surprising thing you found about being vice president?
What is the best advice your parents have given you that perhaps you can share with us today?
Well, they're taking their cues from Kamala. It's hard to act when you have a horrible acting partner.
That's true. That's true. I'll give them that credit.
She's like worse than a porn star actress,
oh,
boy.
yeah, way worse.
which is saying a lot. Speaking of embarrassingly bad politicians.
Yes. Then we have California. Gavin Newsom's new progressive laws. That's all I've got.
That's all we need to know. He signed a bunch of laws. Stupid laws like mandating gender-neutral toys in
Aisles.
gender-neutral aisles.
In toy stores. Yeah, not
Not even toy stores. It was in like department stores. I was like, department stores? Who goes to a department store?
requires gender-neutral displays of children's toys and toothbrushes in large department stores.
But made it illegal for gas leaf blowers by 2024. And
Surprised it wasn't 2030.
you can't hand out ketchup packets anymore without the customer asking.
Oh, my God.
This is just government micromanaging at its worst. Why are you telling people what they can and can't do? By the way, all of these bans on like leaf blowers, gas-powered leaf blowers, are only going to make things harder for the working class because now they're going to have to get all new like electric leaf blowers.
Do electric leaf blowers
powered.
even exist?
It's funny because during the pandemic, there was never not a day when there wasn't a leaf blower going.
Right?
Yeah, they never stopped working. They're going to have people trimming the grass with scissors at the French Laundry. No, they'll have gas leaf blowers at the French Laundry.
Yeah. Does Gavin Newsom own stock in like electric leaf blowing company?
Tesla
He has
comes
the
out.
blowjob.
Blowjobs.
Blowjob.
Clean blowjobs.
Clean blowjobs by Kamala. Just kidding.
Oh.
Hey-o. I wanted to make that joke earlier. I don't like to make fun of a lady for getting down on her knees, but I do like to make fun of Kamala. We have such big problems in California. These are the battles you're fighting. I have people taking a shit in my front yard.
Uh-huh.
That was one time, Bridget. It was an emergency and your toilet was full.
Yeah, no, we have so many problems, and this is what they're focused on. Like boys and girls' toothbrushes can't be differentiated as such.
Literally, like, drug overdoses are skyrocketing in San Francisco. You walk down the street and there's just dead people all over the streets of ODs and on the BART and all over the place. Is the BART there? Yeah.
Yeah, half the state is burning.
Yeah.
Then we're out of
We're
water.
out of water. And they're like, you know what this state really needs? No one can hand out ketchup packets.
There's some ketchup. Give me some. Not bad. Mix it with the relish.
Petty tyranny.
Speaking of petty tyrants, troll in exile.
Our segues are great today.
That's a good one.
This was the best because all of Trump's emails read like tweets because he can't tweet anymore. And he basically said, no one's going to vote for Republicans in 2022 or 2024 if they don't figure out the solution to the election problem.
Yeah.
If they don't solve the election problem.
He told his base not to vote for Republicans.
He already screwed them in Georgia, and now he's trying to just completely take them down. He is just a toddler. He's like, if I can't have the GOP, no one can.
Wrong.
I'll break it before I give it back.
Yeah. He's a toddler that breaks the toy before he has to give it back or share it.
Uh-huh.
He would just rather like let it all burn. And when people are like, he cares about America, I'm like, does he though? I think he cares about himself and winning, and that's it.
Yeah, no, he cannot handle the fact that he did not win. It is not something that he can even conceive of.
Everyone was like, did a Democrat write this when they were reading his email? Like, thank you. You're right. No one should vote for the GOP ever again. Thank you, Donald Trump. And he's like, now just his own third party. I'm the purple party. Purple is the color of royalty. I'm the king of America. King of America. Vote for me, Donald Trump. Although
United States of Donnie.
United States of Donnie, although I do think he's probably going to win in 2024.
Yeah,
Has that ever happened before?
I'm doing what you've said
think
to
so.
do.
Just prepare for it.
Prepare for it.
Prepare for
mentally.
another round of chemo.
4 more years of dumpster fire.
I feel like it might have happened once.
right?
Maybe once in like history that we'll have to look that up. I'm sure the
Tell
people in
Maggie
the comments will tell us.
Historians of our very serious news show, tell Maggie in the comments how many times a president was elected, lost, and then reelected in our American history.
I don't even know if it was lost,
reelected,
like ran
but-
again and lost. It was just I don't know if anyone's
Ran
ever run again
again.
and lost. It's just that they came back for another
Oh,
administration later. I'm not sure.
okay.
I could be totally making this up in my
I feel
brain.
like you are.
Maggie and I are rewriting history.
Mhm.
We're always
Speaking of rewriting history, these segues are just being handed to me.
These segues are
We're
ready
just
themselves.
serving them up on a platter for Maggie.
Journalism.
Woohoo!
Katie Couric censored RBG's comments on Anthem kneeling to protect her.
Oh, wow. That's so brave of Katie Couric. I love that she said it was because she was an old lady who didn't understand the question, which doesn't, or that was her excuse, which doesn't exactly instill confidence in her ability to be on the Supreme Court at the time, which she was.
Mhm.
And then when you hear her full unredacted answers, you're like, pretty sure she understood the.
That was a
Yeah.
pretty clear answer.
During the interview, Ginsburg expressed her views on black athletes such as Colin Kaepernick, who knelt during the national anthem protests. In the unedited version, Ginsburg reportedly said that the protesters demonstrated contempt for a government that has made it possible for their parents and grandparents to live a decent life.
RBG is suffering an injury from spinning in her grave right now. This is the second time her words have been manipulated and taken out of her mouth. And then I guess the Supreme Court, PR people came out and said she misspoke and they wanted Katie to redact it, and certain people told her to leave it and certain people told her to redact it, and she struggled with the decision and then she did to protect her.
Right.
Based RBG is the best RBG. That is fucking based. Even women don't let women speak.
I know.
Katie said she thought one of her blind spots was racial injustice.
Oh, and that's for you to decide, Katie Couric. Then we have CNN's Dr. Sanjay Gupta goes on Joe Rogan to discuss vaccines. Joe calls him out for CNN's dishonest coverage when Joe had COVID.
I love Joe so much. Joe is the master, truly the master. And this was a reasonable conversation if you listen to the whole thing. The clips that were going around made it look more contentious than it was. I actually give Gupta a lot of credit for even going on. And I'm shocked CNN Legal allowed him to, frankly, but they're probably actually petrified of getting sued by Rogan. Joe is just the master of giving someone enough rope and letting them hang themselves with it. Because he'll just if you're a talking points guy, which Gupta is, and you're on CNN and you're just talking points for years, surrounded by echo chambers and people who are clapping and just approving of everything that you say and never pushing back. And the only people who you assume are pushing back are bad faith people from the other side or other networks. You don't have to really defend your ideas or have a conversation about them. And people who are used to that kind of format fall apart on Rogan. You cannot talk for 3 hours and not have to fully think out your positions.
Mm-hmm.
It will become very clear quickly, and people generally who are talking points do. And it's because he just asks very logical, rational questions that he's thought about. And I think people underestimate how much, like, the guy spends all day talking to the most brilliant people in the world.
Yeah, for
you
real.
don't think he's picked up a thing or two in the thousands of hours of conversations he's had with people from all across the political spectrum, all across every single kind of field, at the top of their game, and athletes, scientists, philosophers, and that you're just going to sit there and be like, come in and school him?
Right. And he obviously does the research and has the numbers at his disposal.
Yeah, and he asks good questions. The one that he asked that went viral about kids getting vaccinated is a very logical question. He was really just saying, if you as a vaccinated person are not worried about getting COVID, and a child has less of a risk than you as a vaccinated person, why would parents be worried about their child getting it? It's a very reasonable question, and he could not answer it.
Yeah.
The child probably has a better chance even than you do because you're 51 years old.
I think...
Does that...
I mean, they're both...
That seems reasonable, right?
Well, I think it's... I don't...
And then Joe is so gracious. He saw that everything was going around and everybody was kind of dragging Gupta because he looked not great. And he said a similar thing, like, if you only watch these clips, this looks like it was a contentious debate, but I consider him a friend now that he left. And what does Gupta do? 24 hours later, he goes on fucking Don Lemon and throws Joe under the bus again.
Ivermectin is a drug that is commonly used as a horse dewormer. So it is not a lie, and it is not approved for COVID. Correct?
That's right. That's correct.
Jesus.
And lies about the lie that he got him to admit on Joe's show.
Was a lie. Yeah.
Was a lie.
Does it bother you that the news network you work for out and out lied, just outright lied about me taking horse dewormer?
They shouldn't have said that.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
You didn't ask? You didn't think that was you're the medical guy over there.
I didn't ask. I should have asked before coming on
But they did
your
it with
podcast.
such glee.
No,
yes,
Joe.
they did. I watched.
Like,
I just don't even understand how you can do that when then you have the proof that...
Because you're back in your home team.
Because they needed, it's like antibodies. Like that kind of, the narrative is so determined to reinforce itself. It needs to, people who are watching CNN aren't listening to Joe Rogan generally.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to spend 3 hours listening to the whole interview. You're just going to watch Sanjay talk about his experience there. And he's just lying again. And then, like, Keith Olbermann, who's completely lost his mind. He used to be a reasonable guy and, like, completely lost it. Was on his penthouse, like, yelling at Rogan about getting the vaccine and calling him a pussy or something. And saying he was afraid. And from, like, his mansion, there's like the view. I was like, that view is like, you've got to be like a billionaire to have that view.
They're waiting for more information. They're making a medical decision. Bullshit! Snowflakes and cowards and idiots.
Where are you standing talking down to people? It's crazy. Such an example of journalism.
Yeah.
Joe does a better job, good for him for pushing back on that
Parade of morons. Oh, Lord. This is going to be a thing now.
Only if it annoys you, Maggie.
I love it. Let me do my Kamala fakeness.
I love it.
Kamala
Let us
enthusiasm.
know in the comments how much you love Bridget and I's
Let me do my
impromptu parade noises.
Then we've got anti-vax protester on Hollywood Boulevard gets called a dumb by a homeless man she tries to use as an example.
You see all these homeless people around? Are they dead in the streets with COVID? Hell no. Why? Yeah, the biohazard.
The guy who took the video like tracked the guy down and started a GoFundMe for him or something.
Oh, that's great.
And then I was just like, oh, we're just going to leave the corpses of the homeless people who've died of COVID in the street for you to stumble over, lady? What are you thinking?
It's like a very weird assumption that they would just like leave the homeless who died of COVID.
Like maybe put a sign on them being like died of COVID. Like, what are you
like
talking
we're in
about?
the bubonic plague in Venice in the 1400s.
Like a dead squirrel on the side of the road. Like, oh, don't mind that one.
That you'd just be tripping over dead bodies on Hollywood Boulevard?
I mean, to be fair, you might.
Then we've got anti-vax protesters chasing children and parents and saying vaccination is rape.
You should choose what goes on your child's face and in your child's body. This is rape.
Oh my God.
This was insane.
There was some person who actually screamed, they're going to rape their lives away.
They're going to rape their lives away.
Seriously.
And a grown adult yelled this.
In front of kids.
In front of children. These poor kids. I mean, please, adults of the world, stop tormenting these children. Stop from the perspective of panicking all the time and making them afraid of something they really shouldn't be that afraid of. And stop with your little crusades they're taking to the streets and yelling at people. If your whole thing is like you have a choice, then allow other people to make the choice too. Like that woman in the video is like, I have a choice too.
He's going to be traumatized because you put that mask on him and you don't let him breathe freely. You're traumatized. That's my choice.
No one has any kind of sense of
propriety.
Like, there's no decency left. It's so
people are crazy. They've lost their fucking minds.
Morons. I mean, this is in Beverly Hills too, which does not surprise me because that's where all the like MAGA rallies were.
Beverly Hills.
This is MAGA country. Beverly Hills is where Jesse Smollett is more likely to get jumped than Chicago. If that had happened to Juicy Smollett in Beverly Hills, I would have been like, actually, I believe that.
That's MAGA country up there.
It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're raping your children with the vaccine.
They're going to rape their lives away. Like, okay. There seems to be a lot of histrionic personality disorder going around. It's gotten so much worse.
It's gotten worse.
The vaccine stuff, it makes me want to take a gun and blow my brains out.
Can we all agree not to just scream rape in front of like 8-year-old children? Can we just make that a policy?
Maybe can we also not scream at the parents in front of the children? You're raping your kids.
These kids are already like socially anxious and like incredibly
Zoom school already effed them
having
up.
a tough
Oh my
time.
God. These kids are so messed up. They lost a year of socialization. They're completely anxious. They spent a year online, which is like the worst place for anyone to be, let alone a child with a developing brain.
Ugh.
And they're all like suicidal ideation. I mean, given my last joke, I guess that makes sense because spending any amount of time even thinking or reading about this stuff online, if I was a kid going to school and dealing with this, and you have these crazy QAnon parents outside telling you that they're raping your lives away, these adults should be embarrassed.
Ugh.
Morons!
Morons!
Important stories we are ignoring because we are not a news source.
Global supply chains are breaking down. Surging inflation reaches a 13-year high. A winter of giant gas bills is coming. British lawmaker stabbed to death in terrorist incident. Bow and arrow attack in Norway kills 5 people in another alleged terrorist attack. Suicide in the U.S. Army's active duty forces jumped 46% compared to last year.
It's so bad.
Jesus.
Wow. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go.
Get wrecked, China. China's youth flock to murder roleplay game to escape everyday life.
Great. First, they took away their women. Then they took away their video games. And then they took away their effeminate boy bands. And what's left? Murder.
Dun, dun. That was
This
great.
Sounds like some China training to invade a certain United States country at some point.
Maybe they
in
aren't.
their veins.
Maybe they aren't pork chips. Maybe they're Chinese pork chips
Oh boy.
with robots. Inside.
What's next?
What are you? I
Sam
don't know
is
what
whispering
Sam is talking
conspiracy
about.
theories.
I just feel like it's time to float a new one around.
Cancel. People tried to cancel Chappelle again for his latest special claiming transphobia. And Netflix's CEO stands up for Dave, citing artistic freedom.
Yes, and then Hannah Gadsby came for him. Hannah Gadsby had the revolutionary post-comedy special, Nanette, that everybody was applauding, the critics loved, and everyone was like, I don't get it. Sam called it a TED Talk.
I've built a career out of self-deprecating humour, and I simply will not do that anymore, not to myself or anybody who identifies with me.
It was
Felt
like
a TED Talk.
Yeah, they keep trying to come for Chappelle, and critics hated it. I don't even think there was a single mainstream positive review of it. And the audiences were like, hell yeah, we love it. 'Cause we have a sense of humor, and we're not humorless, moral Puritan scolds. And then Hannah came out on Instagram and wrote this whole post about how, that f you and your algorithm cult, and keep my name out of your mess, Ted. And I don't get paid enough. And it sounds like someone's not going to have another Netflix special.
Yeah, where she's like, I'll never work with Netflix again. Oh, you mean your second special didn't get picked up?
Maybe if you stood for something more than clapter, you would get paid too, Hannah. Ted Sarandos, we want you to know that we will replace Hannah Gadsby's next Netflix special that was probably canceled.
We'll even take half her pay.
We will work for bagels and cream cheese.
And maybe like $1 million.
$1 million.
What's scary is the quick mainstreaming of anybody who likes the closer, the Chappelle special, is a transphobe.
Yeah. It's
So now we're mainstreaming this idea.
It's the same thing that happened to J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
Everyone now is just like, oh, she's a transphobe. No, she's not.
She's a TERF. And that's what people didn't get. They're like, he said he was team TERF. I'm like, he was joking about the fact that she's a TERF. Like, he was making a joke about her being called a TERF. And then he said he was team TERF, joking about the fact that neither one of them are TERFs. Do you people not get jokes?
Apparently not. No,
No.
they're all used to Hannah Gadsby's form of humor now.
They're like, this
TED
is
Talks.
violence. Words are violence.
No, violence is violence.
Anyway, I'm team TERF. We've been saying that on here forever.
Yeah.
We're like, I guess we're TERFs now.
Whatever happened to sticks and stones may break my bones.
That was his special.
Words may never hurt me.
That's
Right?
why he called it that, I think.
I guess
Sam.
kids aren't taught that these days. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will wound me forever.
Forever.
But words leave lasting damage.
Words lead me to violence. I mean, I think maybe it's time to bring back sticks and stones.
Just start
Right? I
throwing.
know. People were like, words are violence. I just want to smack them all in the face and then be like, no, that's violence. Did my words hurt as much as that?
Words are violence. It's like every time I hear that, I hear it in like a South Park voice. Words are violence.
All right. Then we've got Raiders coach.
Speaking of words are violence.
Raiders coach John Gruden resigns after homophobic and misogynistic emails are released.
I mean, if you had read me these emails and said you get one guess on which coach said these things in the NFL, my first guess would have been John Gruden. It's just kind of a no-brainer. But I just assumed all these coaches talk this way.
Yeah.
In some respect. Do people not know how people talk
Well, some of his
behind closed doors?
emails were like, you were like, really?
Yeah.
Whatever. And then some of them were like, oh, yeah, no, that's bad.
No, some of them were
that's a bit
definitely
racist.
f***ed up. Yeah, some were definitely, I mean, you're not coming back from that. Sorry, John. But it was weird because they dragged out these I mean, someone was out to get him, clearly.
Roger Goodell.
Roger Goodell, he called a pussy and an anti-football pussy, and show me the lie.
Roger.
There's domestic abuse riddling the whole organization.
Yeah.
They certainly pick and choose. Michael Vick still has a job speaking for the NFL. Granted, he did his time. He did do his time in prison, and I'm all for prison reform and coming back and getting jobs. But do you need to get a job at the NFL?
Yeah. Do you need to make him the face of your organization? What is that message? I mean, I'm all for redemption too, but, maybe go get another job doing something else.
What it tells me is that Gruden will probably be back.
I'll be back.
It was very strange. It's strange to have all those emails dumped and then you're reading them and you're like, yeah, why are you such a moron that you were talking like this from your work email?
Right.
Like every email you send from your whatever your name is at NFL.com is property of the NFL.
Right.
They
Learn
just
from Hillary. Come
They're
on.
boomers and it was 10 years ago.
Still.
They didn't know any better.
Should have known better.
Just shows you how invincible they all thought they were.
Mm-hmm.
And this is white privilege, folks. And if you haven't been lectured about white privilege, have I got a story for you?
Sign up for our TED Talk at Phetasy.com.
This is the patriarchy. The patriarchy is so crafty.
Proof we're living in a simulation. Ghost Robotics straps a sniper rifle to a spot.
We knew this was coming. I feel like Ghost Robotics saw the Imperial March of all of the Chinese robots last week, and they were like, oh yeah? Well, we've got sniper rifles on our dog robots. They just immediately had to clap back. We've got tactical nukes strapped on dogs roaming around the forests of Russia just to keep things in check. Keep the power balance. We knew this is the end game for these things.
Right.
Mm-hmm. We've been saying it for 2+ years now. I mean, pretty soon it's going to be the old lady in Beverly Hills screaming, vaccines are raping your kids, with a dog walking beside her that's robotics with a freaking sniper rifle attached to it.
It's just starting to take out the
sniper rifle
vaxxers.
would just take her out.
And then they will be domestic terrorists.
Uh-huh. Why?
How many innocents need to get killed by a murder dog?
Why have none of these people ever watched a science fiction movie in their entire lives?
Or they have, and they didn't ask if they... What was that? What's that quote?
You were so busy wondering whether or not you could, you never stopped to ask whether you should.
Is that Jurassic Park? Yeah. We use that one once a month at least.
Our scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Dumpster diving.
What's next? In the dumpster.
Man lost at sea for 29 days, thought it was a nice break.
I really feel this story. I feel it in my soul. I feel it in my heart. All of the world relates, man lost at sea. We all relate to you. And I can tell you that that's what it feels like for me in my weeks off dumpster fire.
Yep.
When I don't have to drift into the news or go on Twitter. I'm just jealous of them, that's all.
I think we all are.
Maybe it's the time we realize that we all need to get lost at sea.
Then we have Breaking Bridget.
Every week they're pushing me further to the edge of being a teen TERF.
Women prisoners who misgender trans inmates face extra jail time.
This makes me want to melt my brain. It's so infuriating because the High Court rejected a challenge that prevented transgender inmates with a history of violent or sexual offenses against women being imprisoned with other women.
Right. So they still allowed those prisoners to be imprisoned with other women. And
I feel like at the bare minimum, this should exempt you from being with other women, no matter what you are. If you committed a violent or sexual offense against a woman, you probably shouldn't be alongside other women if you're a biological man.
yeah. Well, okay, to be clear, this is in the UK.
The High Court
High
of
Court.
Her Majesty's prison.
Yes. And the extra jail time for mispronouncing people.
It's so crazy because we now live in a world where if somebody is like, he raped me, they're like, that's extra jail time for you, young lady. That is a she.
She has a penis.
It's so infuriating. I feel like we've collectively, this is the biggest bugaboo for me. Because I want to have compassion. I'm sure it's hard to be transgender in a male prison. It's hard for men to be in male prisons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But still, I don't think if you committed a sexual or violent offense against a woman, you should be alongside women. That should just be a no-brainer after that case-by-case basis. But you don't hear of any trans men transferring to the men's prison. Gee, I wonder why that is. Someone tell me, enlighten me. Why would that be? I can't imagine. I just feel like common sense and logic and reason have just flown the cuckoo's nest.
Yeah, they've gone out the window.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for these, like in these positions of power, there is no logic to that kind of decision of, oh, yes, you've committed sexual assault on women in the past. Let's put you in a female prison because you claim to be transgender.
All to be politically correct. Like, I have to follow the money here.
Yeah.
Like
this is where the conspiracy tinfoil hat comes on, because now I start thinking about that Canadian person who's got the billions of dollars, who's fighting all of these lawsuits all over the world and winning them. It just seems like, how did this get so mainstreamed at the top levels?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where people, once again, they're like, we care about the dignity and the safety of everyone and blah, blah, blah. But no, you f***ing don't. Because if you did, you'd care about women being alongside biological men who have assaulted and violently sexually assaulted women.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But no, once again, women just get pushed under the rug.
Yeah.
He raped me. That's extra jail time for you. And she will be sleeping in the bunk below you. It's like, it makes me crazy. It is the patriarchy so crafty. It is subjugating women always at the expense of men. That's what this is over and over again. And you see it everywhere. It's making me a radical feminist.
Yeah.
The irony.
And pushing back against it will get you called transphobic and a TERF. And like immediately slapped with that label, where there's no room for discussion.
There is no room for discussion anymore. This whack.
It's like if you have a pedophile.
Bridget, this whack Phetasy.
New name.
I'd like to weigh in on the important.
We gotta start selling
whack.
It's whack. Bridget, what? I mean, every time I go on anything from now on,
Bridget, what do you think?
Bridget, what are your thoughts on this? This shit's whack. Bridget weighs in on the nuanced and important topical events of the day. This shit's whack. All right, well, after that, I think we all need a little bit of the internet is glorious.
A little palate cleanser.
Yo, what's up, y'all? I can't come to the phone right now, but if you leave your name and a brief message, I'll be sure to get back to you. Holla.
Stop asking me to go places that require me to pull out my debit card and spend money, cause bitch, I'm broke. $7 to my name. Me and other rappers not the same. Bitch, I'm broke. I ain't spend $1 on my chain, and I don't really think I'm finna change. I check my bank account in 20-minute intervals when I'm at dinner, just in case I'm losing money on my Disney Plus subscription.
1 in 5 hippopotamuses are suffering from severe depression, and it is something we do not talk about in the wildlife community. There's a stigma. So if you want to click the link in my bio, sign my petition, and you yourself can adopt a hippopotamus, then that would make me happy.
We gotta get this slate done. There's gonna be black people in season 2.
안녕하세요. Lanisa Frederick입니다.
안녕하세요.
Bow.
Can I bow?
To sing through it.
안녕하세요.
No.
You said sing? It's Squid Games.
No, that's English.
I'm gonna mouth it, and you say it for me.
안녕하세요.
Ah, the creativity of the internet. We had some fun walk-ins welcomes with Megan Kelly and Kat Rosenfield. Check out Walk-ins Welcome wherever you get your podcasts. It is also a nice palate cleanser to the raging dumpster fire, a nice balance in your life. And then we're on Rumble. All of our stuff is Rumble first. So make sure you subscribe over on Rumble, where we will absolutely hit 50,000 followers before we do on YouTube. Dumpster Fire is now a podcast. Get them wherever podcasts are available. And we're working on Apple. I don't know how that's going, but they're everywhere else. And they drop on Tuesdays. Join our community at Phetasy.com. It is a magical place online. It is my lost at sea. And you get the unedited version of Dumpster Fire on Sundays, day before this drops, as well as live streams, workouts, and just an overall friendly family vibe that you can't really replicate anywhere else. It is the promise of the internet. Shop our merch at BridgetPhetasy.com. We have tons of stuff. The holidays are here. Get your favorite liberal cousin a Dumpster Fire mug or a You're Not Woke, You're Annoying t-shirt. We've got hoodies, beanies, stickers, and this is my vaccine passport. Wildly popular shirts. You guys keep on purchasing those. We need them out in the world everywhere. Thank you, Dave Yates, Matt Monroe, Andy Chandler, and Better Phetasy for your writing, research, and editing skills. We can't do this without you. Support Dave Yates at Ha Ha Hot Sauce. You can follow everyone else online. We can't do it without them. We can't do it without you. Like, subscribe, comment, touch my bells and buttons. Thank you, supporters. Thank you, subscribers. Thank you for being out there. And just if you're a looky-loo, leisure-watching Looney Tune, I love you as well. We're just grateful to have you all here. Thank you, Zen Pro Audio, for the juicy mic. Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you, Bridget.
Annoyed. Thank you, Sammy Flaps and Folds.
Thank you, Bridget.
Maybe we'll do Conspiracy Corner with you later in the midweek. This has been your Dumpster Fire for the weeks of October 3rd to October 16th. I'm Bridget Phetasy. Now make me rich!